holding in Simon Nun Vav Besh Hashem in haGuela. Now we're starting a very new subject, and we're going to talk about the Baal Tshuva movement thing. But afterwards, there were all kinds of yeshivas that opened in Eretz Yisrael, and a lot of good things happened. So the Rebbe says like this: V'hinei hatoim v'hamas. But he's writing this in '67. Remember, so he's writing it right after the war. V'hinei hatoim v'hamasim. These people who make a mistake and they cause others to go astray, misgabrim b'samiyus einayim. They go further with their blindness of the eyes. Kol kach. They go so far. Ad shemafarsamim divrei hevel ruach. They make a completely empty announcement. What do they say? Sheki'ilu al yidei nisim habduim v'amadumim. Because of these alleged miracles that happened, shel tzava hatzionim of the army of the Zionists, nisrabu bali tshuva v'chazru l'mutav. Many people became bali tshuva and they went back on the derech of Yiddishkeit. Uve'emes ein kedai l'tapel bohem. It's not even worth discussing this. V'lidchos divreim, and disproving their words. Ki gali u'mefursam ha'hepech, because it is known that the opposite is true. Why? Shenisrabe avonaseinu arabim al yidei nitzchonim haminus v'apikorsis. That actually, the heresy of Zionism became more prevalent now after the victory of the war. Ve'apirtzois ve'achatzifos b'makom hamikdash. That there was like inappropriate behavior in the area of the Beis Hamikdash, be'oifen mavil v'noyer, in a shocking way, because the Kaisel became for the first time open in 19 years, and many people went there, people who shouldn't have be worthy of going there, and there was behavior there that was not appropriate. Today also, right? I heard it became a very immoral place sometimes of the year. Right? Omnam afilu im nanhiach. But even if we assume sharoim be'ezah mehem, that we see sometimes there were some secular Jews in Yonim Shel Tshuva that they took on some new practices of Judaism to become Bali Tshuva, ein bozeh mamish. We still shouldn't be impressed by that. Ukvar haya lo elamim b'mei hashatz shem Yerushalayim yirkav. That happened before in the time of Shabsei Tzvi. Kayadua masha kasav hakadosh Mari Shashport. Rabbi Yaakov Saspordas, one of the leaders of the Jewish people at the time of Shabsei Tzvi, who wrote against the movement. Bereish Sifroi Tzitzas Noivel Tzvi, in the beginning of his sefer that he wrote about it, Ishikasav Azel Lashon, he writes, V'advarim alalu nichnesu b'leiva hamoin. That when the news spread about Shabsei Tzvi, it got into the hearts of the masses. V'gam biktzas me'achachamim, and a few of the rabbis too. Asu Roishim, it made an impression on them. V'nis oiru l'tshuva gedola. Kol Yisrael. All of the Jewish people became aroused to do great tshuva. Hakroivim v'archoikim shebechol ha'olam. All over the world, the ones close to Shabsei Tzvi and the ones far away. And he was writing this from Amsterdam, I think. So he saw what was going on there. Uvechol ha'olam nasdes tshuva me'ula. They did a very high level of tshuva. B'sigufim, they afflicted themselves. V'ta'aniyos, and they fasted. V'avsakos, and they fasted for, I guess, day after day. Shel shavua shalim, for a whole week. Utvila b'mayim karim, and they went to the mikveh in cold water. Bisman hakor, in the wintertime. V'sigufim acherim, they did other types of self-affliction. Masha ein apeh yichol l'daber, and the mouth can't even express what they did. And we can't even understand it with our minds how they had such motivation. Reish am bifnim. But the true tzaddikim at the time, they understood that this tshuva was not worth anything, because it was inspired by somebody who was bad, by a fake Messiah. And then when it came out to be that he was a false Messiah, and everybody knew about it, then everybody knew that the tshuva was not worth anything. They didn't stay Bali tshuva, it sounds like. People didn't stay. Some of them actually became worse. They became, the people who converted to Islam, and people who had secret Shabbatian practices of doing Averas and stuff like that. All this is because of the council of the Samach Mem. Kamasha Kostava Yaris Dvash, Bechelik Aleph, Drush Aleph. This is the Rabbi Yonasan Eibshitz. He says, the fire Shacharuz, Tzoincha Miyad Goizazim. Save, it's a line from the Yoitris, I think. He says, the Vayol Moshe brings it also. It says, Tzoincha Miyad Goizazim, save your sheep from the hands of the shearers. Shalafa'amim, Roim Adam Rasha Shechoiz B'tshuva. He says, we sometimes see someone who does tshuva. He used to be a Rasha and he changes over, new leaf, becomes a Baal Tshuva. Yoshev B'Bechi, he's sitting and crying over his sins. He's polished Ba'afarim, and he's rolling in the dust. The Kohen Advarim Tovim, he does many good things. The Kasher Yavrum Yamim Machadim, but a few days later, all of a sudden, he goes right back to what he was doing before. V'Maisim Mekulkalim. V'Nishkach Yemei Hasoiva Mimei Arav. That the days of the satiation were forgotten because of the days of the famine. The Siba Mizu, the reason for this is Kemoy Hatsoin, like when you have sheep, Shemavakshim Legoizizoy, and you want to shear them, Uvitzamroi, and you want to, cut their wool, Yasa Kol Vitzamroi Yasa Kol Chefetz, they're going to make beautiful garments out of the wool. So Yitnu Loy Lecho Melach, they feed the sheep salt, the Chadoime, and other foods, Hamagadol, Tzemer, Lenoy, that causes the wool to grow better. The kasher yigdal tzemer yigoizu. When the wool gets long enough, they cut it off. V'chein yasu tamid. It looks like you feed the chicken, fatten it up in order to shecht it. V'chein asitra achra yoinkim mi Yisrael. So here's the nimshal. The mashal is the sheep that you're fattening up in order to take the wool. So the same thing, the sitra achra is yoinkim mi Yisrael ho'over shifas kedusha asher boy. That when a Jew does an Aveira, the Sitra Achra takes away the Kedusha of the previous mitzvahs that he did and uses it for bad. Asher boy. V'hu lahem l'michya. That's the food for the Sitra Achra. V'lochach savi v'shayim mishalachim. That's why he hangs out around the wicked. What does that mean? Ach kasher heim yoinkim. And they take away anyone who's let's say used to be good, used to do mitzvahs and then became a rasha. The Samach Mem takes away his original mitzvahs that he had. Now, obviously, the Gemara says that if a person becomes bad and he doesn't regret his mitzvahs, he won't lose them. You only lose mitzvahs if you regret them. If you did mitzvahs, Hashem doesn't take it away from you unless you regret it. So maybe he means that these people regretted it. Anyway, so he says, when the Rishaim become empty of mitzvahs, when the mitzvahs all got taken away by the Sitra Achra, then all of a sudden they don't have what to eat. So they make him do tshuva so that he should do more mitzvahs, and then they can get those mitzvahs too. That's what he's going to say. He says, when he dries up, there's no any kedusha left. Then they put into his heart the feelings of tshuva. Hashem, is toiv, and to do good. They're full of all the fat of the mitzvahs that they did. He's full of good. They see that they're fat. And he's full of good. Then they convince him to go off the derech again. And they get all the kedusha from them. And that's what this prayer is. Hashem Yatzil Oisanu, save us from the shearers, meaning save us from these false mitzvahs that the Samach Mem is going to take away. V'lochach Omar Soincha Miyad Goizim. Ad Kan L'Shoinai. That's Rabbi Yonasan Eibshitz. Amnam L'Inyanenu Ein Kavanas HaSatan. So he's saying maybe that's what happened here. After the 6-day war, Satan says, look, I want to get some mitzvahs from people, so let's make them do tshuva for a few months, and then I'll take their mitzvahs away. He says, no. However, we know he says, the Satan doesn't want to get mitzvahs out of these Zionists. Why? There's no kedusha in them at all for the Samach Mem to take. Even after the mitzvahs they do, he says, it's nothing. Why? Even these tefillin that they put on, it's not considered a mitzvah to put on tefillin for these people, because these people don't believe in tefillin. They're not putting it on the shem mitzvah. So is that really a mitzvah? This is the machlokes. It's going to get into it more in the coming simanim between Satmar Rebbe and the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Lubavitcher Rebbe obviously held one mitzvah is still something. I don't know if, see, that's the thing. People say Lubavitcher is into kiruv. I don't know whether he held that that's going to eventually lead to keeping the whole Torah, or he held that one mitzvah of tefillin is enough by itself to mean something. Like an atheist puts on tefillin, all of a sudden he's got a point, or he's got a connection. I don't know. I'm not sure what the Lubavitcher Rebbe held, but the Satmar Rebbe for sure held that that's not the right thing to do. He says, "Afat tefillin shemanichin loy mitzvah yichash lehem." It's not called a mitzvah. Kamoish nevar, as we're going to explain in the coming simonim. The oid oisim ister bozeh. They're doing an actual ister by putting it on. It's not, because the Gemara says tefillin need guf naki. So he's going to say the Rishonim hold that a guf naki means guf naki from machshavas rois and from averis. El shakavanas sitra achra linoik mimaisa hamitzvus. He says, the Zionists themselves, the atheists, whatever, putting on tefillin is nothing. The Sitra Achra is not going to get anything out of that. What's he going to get out of? He's going to get out of the religious Zionist or whoever is making them do these mitzvahs. Those who join up with the Zionists. All the mitzvahs they did their whole life until they joined up with the Zionists. He's going to derive nourishment, but he's going to take them to his portion. They, the mitzvahs and their owner, the Jew who did those mitzvahs, is going to come into the portion of the Samach Mem because they join the Rishaim. The Farish Maimer Atana Al Tischaber the Rasha. Ben Yoina says, don't join up with the Rasha, even Lidvar Mitzvah. V'ayin bidvareinu l'kaman. We're going to explain this more. Aval ho'emesu shekol ho'inyan eino el samius. All this thing is just blindness. It's just a tool to blind people to the falsehood of Zionism and make them think that it's something. V'achizas einayim shel satan. It's an illusion created by the Satan. The kvar beirarnu le'el, because we explained before, midivrei haGemara, from the Gemara in the Avodah Zarah, that the Satan could also do nisim sometimes. Not to claim that that's what the 6 Day War was, but he's saying it could happen that the Samach Mem could do nisim. And just like he has koyach to do nisim, nitan loy koyach u'rishus lastois dimyonis v'tzurois shel balei tshuva. He can make people think that there's balei tshuva. V'dai bozeh, and really there isn't. He's claiming at the time that he's writing this, of course, in 67. V'dai bozeh l'samois einei hamoin chalushay ru'us. And that's enough to convince people. Yes, you see, show them a picture of some soldier putting on tefillin. That's enough to convince them. Yeah, you see, the 6 Day War created balei tshuva. But they don't look into the source of things, they just see the superficial picture. But it's not worth talking at length, because someone who has eyes will see and understand. These people are just a small minority, and even these people are not really doing the mitzvah l'shma. It's just like a shadow that's passing by. In the coming simanim, we're going to talk more about this, about the tefillin, and about the whole issue of putting on tefillin onto a rasha, and yeah. But I just want to point out that this is all written in 67. In the hemshech of the years, there was a whole movement of Balei Tshuva, and they were the real Balei Tshuva, not people who just came because some person put on tefillin on them, but the people who actually came to learn in Eretz Yisrael or came to tour, and then was, by the Koistel, and then the Eish HaTorah got them and attended class. So there's a lot going on, and all that stuff has nothing to do with Zionism, really, because all that is people who are young, who are looking for something in life, looking for truth in the world, and they end up in a place where there are some Jews who are doing kiruv, and they do kiruv with them, and they help them see the truth. That's nothing to do with what the Rebbe is talking about here. He's talking about people who became Balei Tshuva from the war. They said, oh look, the Zionists won the war, I'm going to become from that. And he's saying that's nothing. But Avada later on, and he didn't speak about this because he was living before that time, but there was a whole movement of people who became from not because of the Zionists again, but because they went, because the Koisel and Yerushalayim became a place that people came to learn about Judaism. All right.